So I noticed a pattern on the Dow Jones, S&P 500, and also the Nasdaq as well too. I've noticed a pattern that might surprise you, and also the same pattern is also looks like it might be forming on the mining stocks, GDXJ, SILJ, and also potentially on the metals. It's really interesting. This same pattern that it will surprise you is all happening all at once. What does this really mean? Don't place a trade based on what you'll see in this video, because there is no guarantees of making a profit in the market. It takes you a long time to become a good trader. So this video here is just to educate you to become a much better trader. Hey traders, over the last 15 years, we've tested 64 different trading courses, and we have put the most powerful systems and trading techniques that we've discovered in this brand new trading course. And for a limited time, I'm giving away free access. So go to johnsfreegift.com. That's johnsfreegift.com, or click on the very first link in the description to get free access to this brand new trading course right now. So the pattern that I'm talking about right now is, obviously I'm looking at the Dow Jones, and for the last few days I have done update on the stock market, Dow Jones, S&P, Nasdaq, and the updates have been, you know what, they're getting a very weak pullback here on the Dow Jones, very weak pullback. And so therefore, due to the fact we're getting a very weak pullback, we're probably going to race up to all-time new highs. That's been my update. So I still have that view, but on the flip side, I can't be oblivious to maybe the opposite happening as well too. So let's actually go and see what the market is telling us right now and what may be coming down the track, so I can be well in tune instead of throwing my thoughts and my opinions out there. Well, we're getting us a weak pullback, so I think it's going to rally to the upside. What is the market actually telling us right now? Now let's go back to simple trend analysis. What is trend analysis? Trend analysis is when the market is making higher lows and higher highs. We're in a what? We're in a upward trend. Fantastic. But what happens when the market starts to make lower highs and lower lows? Notice how we're actually starting to get we're actually in a bit of a short-term downward trend right now as we speak. It's not a matter of well, we hope or we think or we fear or any of that sort of stuff. Okay, redoing my analysis today and looking at the markets, the if scenarios. Okay, right now we're going to be looking at the if scenarios. If you've watched my videos in the past couple of days based on the mining stocks and also silver and gold, you will know that I've looked at the if scenarios with that, and I will talk about that in just a minute. But let's focus first on the indices, and then I'm going to go to the mining stocks, because every single sector, Dow Jones, all the indices, and also mining indices, GDXJ, silver, gold, are making this same pattern. Are we about to see a deflationary period, which means we're going to see a pullback in all markets? Let me explain. So we can see how the market the Dow Jones came up, made a lower high, came down, and now rallied up. Now here is the question mark. Okay, this is the question mark right here. Do we either A, hold and just continue rallying up from here, and if so, we're probably likely to rally up to all-time new highs, or do we B, do we start to see a breaking back down like this? And if so, well, that's good. Guess what is that? That's a high, a lower high. And if we do start to see that, then we're probably likely to start to see a drop down to about the 25,000 level is where I see. So not a whole big crash or anything like that. No. Well, it may turn into that. We don't know. But if we do start to see a rollover, and then we're probably likely to see a drop. Now, leave the word comment bull market coming if you think the Dow Jones is probably likely to rise up to new highs, or do you or say pullback coming if you think the market is about to pull back. Now, lower high. Remember, guys, this is not us talking. This is us listening to the markets. Number one thing is listen to the markets. And the Dow Jones is making a lower high. We haven't made a lower high here yet because we're just holding here. But as you can see, we could be looking at the if scenarios, and the lower high could be coming in right now. And that is telling us something on a short-term basis, okay, guys? Now, let's have a look at the S&P 500. Same sort of thing, right? It's like, hang on a minute. Something's not... We're changing now. Changing the tune. What are we changing here? Look at this. We came down, rallied down, little lower high, came down, Are we about to create? We haven't created a lower high yet, but are we about to see that? If we do see that, then we're probably likely to see a rally down to the 3,000 level. Again, not a whole big crash, but a deflationary period. Again, guys, these lower high periods, you think they don't mean much, but that's the market talking to us. And same for the Nasdaq. Nasdaq could be rallying down. We could be creating some sort of lower high here. Do we hold here? Do we hold in? Do we start to come back down like that? And if we do break that, then we're probably going to rally to, I would say, around the 9,600, maybe even a 9,500 level. Is where we're probably likely to start to see. It's really interesting, right? You can see all the indices are rallying. They're probably likely to drop if we see that similar amount. Now, if we go and flip on the other side of the mining stocks. Now, yesterday I talked about how the mining stocks could be creating some form of a false breakout. Let me see if I got my trend lines here, right? So I talked about yesterday how this could be some sort of a false breakout to the downside, and we could rally up. If we get back above 40, we're likely to run 44. But what happens if we don't get that? There's also a possibility of that, right? Remember, we need to be flexible with the markets. What happens if we start to hold here? Let's go back to the GDXJ here for a minute. What if we hold here, and what if we start to get this? Like, what if we start to get something like that? Oh, what is that? Now we're doing what? A high, a lower high, and if we break, we're probably likely to see a nice move to the downside. And then we're probably likely to see a drop down because the market is rolling over now, not because what we think, but the market is rolling over. Remember, rule number one is trend. We'll always be focused on trend because trend is telling us what's going on. And people are like, oh, John, the markets, the charts don't mean anything. Okay, then. Well, let me ask you a question. Back here, well, firstly, the drop we're probably likely to see probably back down to support. If we do start to see that, which is interesting, we're getting the same formation, Dow Jones, S&P, Nasdaq, same formation, GDXJ. If we do start to see that, are we about to see a complete rollover? And so we're probably likely to see a drop down to around, say, the 42 level if that happens. But people say, oh, John, the markets don't mean, the charts don't mean anything, and so on and so forth. Okay, then. All right, let's have a look at this here. Let me squeeze this up through here. Well, as we can see, if I bring up, look what's happened through here. We can see how we had, let's actually just draw a support line. So if you look at this period through here, what do we have? We have all this period. Then we started creating what? We started creating a little higher low, little higher low, little higher low. Rallied up, came down. Look what happened. Rallied up, created what? A little lower high. See how we rolled over here. This is where what is this? This is the market talking to us. Who is in control here on this short-term basis? The sellers. And look what happened. All right, we started to get what? We got a nice free fall out of it. Now again, that's what I'm saying that we may get. If we start to get a rollover, guys, the sellers are coming in. It's not what I think. It's the sellers are coming in. Same for the GDXJ. If we go back to the GDXJ, take everything off the screen, bring on the last 3 months, look at the GDXJ. Are we about to see a complete deflationary period right here? Lower high. Are we about to see a lower high? Now again, I'm not calling for a lower high. I don't know. We have to wait and see. The if scenarios is that if we get a lower high, then the GDX is probably going to have a pullback down to 32 on a short-term basis here. Okay, short-term basis. Short-term basis, that's what I see. Now, on my other videos I've done over the past week or two, I've always said that long-term, I'm massively bullish on the GDXJ. That still is in play, guys, okay? Just because we get a short-term, a 1 or 2 or 3 week, or even a 4-week pullback, doesn't mean I'm not bullish for the next 3 or 4 years. Makes sense, guys? So there's different scenarios here. One's massive long-term, which I am. And then secondly, it's like, okay, what's happening right now? And so look at the SILJ as well too. SILJ doing the exact same thing. We're creating the exact same pattern. Look at it here. Low. This is a lower high. Came down. Are we about to create a lower high and break down? Wow. Okay. Same thing through here. Same thing through the SIL. High, low, broke down, low. Are we about to create some sort of lower high and then start to see a free fall? Oh my goodness. Moving over to gold. Look what gold's doing as well too. Like, again, the if scenarios are here. We can see how we had a lower high, lower high, lower high. We're actually lowering the prices. We broke down to create a lower low. There was that low, lower low. Do we create something like this even on gold? If that happens with gold, we're probably likely to see a free fall down to around about the 1750 level, around about the 1750, I would say, possibly even down to as low as 1700. Really interesting. And same for like silver. Like, I'm just reading the markets again, guys. I don't know exactly what's going to happen here, but if we do start to roll over, the sellers are coming in. All right, we have, look at this here, high, lower high, equal low, break down, lower low. Is this a short-term rally before we see something like this again on silver? Oh, John, but charts don't mean anything. Okay, let's go back here to silver. Look at this here, right? The market. Now, I'm not saying this is exactly what's going to happen, but look at this. We had a high, we had sort of a low here. Look at it here, rallied down, creating the exact same situation, right? Low, came up, lower high, and then rolled over. So on a short-term basis, guys, you know, it will surprise you. This one pattern could be telling us a big down, a big down move might be coming in the markets. That's what I wanted to share with you today, guys. Again, this is a short-term analysis over the next maybe what's happening right now, and we have to watch it day by day by day and follow it. Some videos I've done in the past, like long-term, like if I've talked about the GDXJ and I've looked at the weekly chart and I said, oh, look where we are right now. This looks like a really, this looks like the greatest opportunity, so on and so forth. That we still can get 1 or 2 or 3 4-week pullback here. Makes sense? Remember what I said before, that I really like the GDXJ long-term. I'm not in it yet, but all I said is this. By 2025, I see the GDXJ being all-time new highs. From now to then, guys, yeah, we can get something like this, or we can get something like that, whatever. But I have a 4-year, or basically just over a 4-year view on where I think these markets are going. On the long-term basis, that's investing, and you should have that. But on a short-term basis, I have to continue to listen to these markets, and they are all creating this pattern, which could spell a massive downward move coming real soon.